In the next few minutes that it takes me to deliver this pitch, 30% of men would have experienced an ejaculation due to a condition known as premature ejaculation. Many people are surprised to hear that so many people suffer from premature ejaculation, but the reality is it's the #1 male sexual dysfunction, greater in prevalence than erectile dysfunction, which we hear about all the time, but it's a topic that men don't want to talk about. In addition to those that suffer from premature ejaculation, our market research suggests there's another 40% of men that don't meet the clinical definition of PE, but want to last longer. So what that translates into is 70% of men at some point wishing to delay an ejaculation. Now, the reality is that, yes, it's an issue that affects men, but it's the partners, whether that partner is a male or a female, that is not being satisfied. And our market research suggests that female partners express significant disappointment, frustration, and lack of satisfaction with men that experience premature ejaculation. It's clearly not a life or death situation, but it is a quality of life issue for tens of millions of couples worldwide. The reality is there's been no innovation in this space for over 20 years. Existing treatment options are sprays and creams that dull the nerves in the penis that could potentially rub off on the partner, or off-label use of antidepressants, which have a side effect of delaying an ejaculation. Again, no innovation in this space for over 20 years. That's where Morari comes in. We are working on a neuromodulation base, specifically neurostimulation, which delivers electrical energy to the nerves that control an ejaculation to temporarily inhibit it. Neurostimulation has been used in tens of thousands of procedures around the world, including the brain for Parkinson's disorder, the spinal cord for chronic pain. We're leveraging neurostimulation to delay an ejaculation, which again, neurostimulation has been proven to be safe and effective in many different applications. Our product is a wearable patch that's placed in the perineum. That's the area between the scrotum and the anus. It is controlled via an app, which we can then also use to capture data and report out in an anonymous way. The patch is placed in the perineum, it's used during intercourse, and it's removed after ejaculation. The business model is your classic razor blade. We will have single-use patches that can be disposed of after ejaculation, and then the core electronics module will be reusable. In addition to myself, and I have over 20-some years of experience in medical device marketing, I am joined by experts in neurophysiology and a former Mayo Clinic urologist. We also have strong expertise on the clinical and regulatory side, and we're looking to add a commercialization lead that can add more diversity to our team. From a traction standpoint, we have developed a working prototype. We recently completed a feasibility study. We filed intellectual property, and earlier this year at the Consumer Electronics Show, we were named by MedGadget as the most interesting medical gadget at the Consumer Electronics Show. And we have over 1,900 people in our database thus far waiting for our product to be released so that they can give it a try. And back in 2018, we were one of 4 companies that Procter & Gamble invited at their Consumer Electronics Show to pitch in their first ever innovation challenge. And we ended up winning that pitch. That was a significant milestone because what it really told us is that society and companies like Procter & Gamble, consumer good companies, are ready to embrace conversations about sexual health and wellness. Our go-to-market strategy is not through the doctors. It is through consumer good marketing. We will leverage things such as social media, which is obviously going to be key, new venues such as Clubhouse, podcasts, radio interviews, but it is direct to the consumer. We will build our own brand, and we will partner with leading consumer good companies to do that have experience in sexual health and wellness. We are seeking $3.5 million to convert our prototype to a commercial product, to get the FDA clearance that we need. Because we're delivering energy to tissue, the FDA requires safety approval, which we will do. Key hires, which would be a lead in the commercialization side, and then to begin the challenge and the opportunity of branding, because this is no longer going to be a technology challenge for us, it's going to be a marketing challenge. And a big part of that is building and developing our brand and launching it. And then there's other areas of exploration that we want to look at. This is a platform technology that can be used for disorders related to female sexual dysfunction, which we can speak about at a later time. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Jeff. Wonderful presentation and a great journey so far. Now I would like my jury members to please ask their questions that they have for Jeff.
Thank you so much, Jeff. That was a super professional, unpolished presentation. So you've covered most of the questions I had going through it already. My question would just be, because you're at the prototype stage, how much research and testing has been done into the product design, so the size and the comfort of the device? Yeah, and also you mentioned about the FDA approval. So from an investor perspective, we would want to know what is actually the time and the cost estimation to obtain all the certification that you need to actually commercially launch.
Yeah, great question. So we're on our 4th iteration of the prototype, and this is the current prototype that was used in our feasibility study. We started out with what's called TENS units, transcutaneous electrical nerve stimulators that you can buy commercially available. They're electrodes with wires that are connected to a battery pack. That was our proof of concept. We then moved into a wireless version of this, and we found some things that it didn't really conform to the anatomy as best as it could. And that's where we came up with this unique design, which has never been done before. And we've got a design patent filed for this. Our most recent study was an institutional review board study. And for those that aren't familiar with it, it's basically a third-party entity that looks at the study and makes sure it's safe and ethical for patients to be a part of it. We recruited 10 couples in that study, and I can say that all 10 reported an increase in ejaculation time, and there were no issues related to the comfort and fit of this. We were concerned about the comfort of it because back in last year at the Consumer Electronics Show, we had a lot of publicity, and one of the reporters called this the taint Band-Aid. That kind of took off. We got a lot of PR around it. I like the name, but I don't like Band-Aid because when you take off a Band-Aid, what do you think of? Ouch, you think of pain. So we spent a lot of time trying to find an adhesive that works to hold it in place, but is delicate enough when you remove it from the skin, it doesn't pull skin or hair. And the adhesive we're actually using is used in neonatal infants, which obviously have very, very sensitive skin. So we've done a lot so far. We've learned a lot. We've iterated a lot. And now we're ready to take this design and make it a commercial grade product. And part of that product development process will be additional usability studies. And the FDA question is a good one. Once we have the data collected, it's a roughly 3-month process for the FDA to get back to us. So because we're not looking to make a specific claim, we don't have to have efficacy data. We just need to have safety data, which we can do that on the bench.
What would be your estimation and selling price?
Great question. The question we get very often. So it's your classic razor blade model. The reusable module, we're looking to price at a selling price of $250. That gives us some margin to do some packaging discounting if needed. And then the single-use patch, that will be in that $10 per use range at scale. For the early adopters, we've got a lot of data, a lot of unsolicited feedback from men and women around the world saying, help me, I'm willing to do whatever. So as I think everybody can appreciate, early adopters, there's an opportunity for a premium, but with scale, that price will come down to that 10, if not lower dollar range.
You also talked about reading out the data, if I got you right. It is like an app-enabled device. So what's your approach here in terms of data security, but also learning and adapting and even coming up with some more product ranges perhaps? Or will it be a one-trick pony here?
Yeah, no, great question. I don't want to disclose too much, but what I can share is that within the electronics, we can build in sensors. And we can capture data related to many different things, thrust, positioning, erectile function, how many times people are having intercourse. So what if we could take this data and the app not only controls the device, but it captures this data and it can dump it into some sort of external user community where people can share in an anonymous way their experiences. And it's very similar to the Fitbit. People have Fitbits, they track steps. No one knows what to do with that information, but you like looking at it, right? You like comparing yourself to others or your spouse or what you did last week. We have the power and the ability to build that into this product. So it's more than just a performance product.
Jeff, when you think about commercial partners, there are a couple places my mind goes. Folks who are already talking to your users, either because they're suffering from erectile dysfunction or their partners. Can you share anything about partnership strategies or collaborations that you've thought about, as long as they're not too confidential at this point?
Yeah, what I can share with you is that we've got 2 NDAs in place with global leading consumer goods brands that I think everybody on this call would know. Rachel, you certainly would know who they are. Experience in the sexual health and wellness space. As I mentioned, we won the Procter & Gamble Innovation Challenge. We don't have anything formal with them right now, but we're part of a networking event where we learn and leverage the assets they have. We're honestly not looking at partnerships on the historical sex toy category side. Not that there's anything wrong with it. There's a lot of opportunity there. And we've had conversations with Zach at Roman, and there's interest in that, but they want it to be a Roman branded product. We feel we have the opportunity to build our own brand, and that then, once we demonstrate revenue, could potentially be an asset that another company would want to add to their portfolio.
Thanks, great job.
Thank you.
Great.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for your presentations. We were really impressed by the overall quality and diversity of the ideas. So it was really a pleasure to watch. This overall startup award, we really wanted to look at scoring all of the elements across the business. So we were looking at investability, market potential, innovation. And of course, this was hard for us because the startups are all at such different stages of their evolution. But drum roll, please. The winner of the overall startup award is Morari